What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I cheer for the LA Chargers. And across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for the Minnesota Vikings. On today's episode, we're going to be doing our regular weekly breakdown of some of the important things that have been going on in the week for the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Chargers.
Absolutely. And Brandon, for the viewers that are watching, new digs going on for me right now. I'm in the middle of moving. We spoke about that last week. I am now closer to Brandon, and so we'll be able to make this podcast happen all that much easier. So in the meantime, as I move into my new digs, this is the temporary spot, but there is a positive that comes with that, and that is there are no more sirens. I know we heard from you. There were sirens in the background. I used to live in a downtown core, and there were a lot of sirens, but no longer, much quieter this go around. But moving on, if you are here with us, we do appreciate that. Please, if you like what you're listening to, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell. It lets us know that you enjoy talking football just as much as we do, and we love talking about football 7 days a week. Don't need Sunday. But the LA Chargers this week, Brandon, mandatory minicamp day one in the books, and Harbaugh had an interview. A lot of good stuff coming out of that. There's some Harbaughisms in there as well, but there's a point in the interview that I thought was quite interesting. And it was a reporter asked Harbaugh, you had your perceptions of Justin Herbert before the job, and we all know what that was. Jim Harbaugh thinks that Justin Herbert is definitely one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. But now that you're with him, what are some of the things that may have surprised you now that you work up close with him? And Harbaugh starts off, citing the reaction that everybody has, right? He knew that he was really good, but he's bigger than he thought he was, actually standing next to Justin Herbert at 6'6", and 245 last season. He definitely bulked up there, but he's smart. He's very detailed in that, and his arm, big arm, that talent, the ball comes out a lot faster than you see on film. But what was an eye-opener for him was that a conditioning test that they ran through last week, where people were trying to catch up to Herbert, and his conditioning was just so much greater than Harbaugh expected. And he smashed the test. He smashed it. He crushed it. Quote unquote, what Harbaugh said. And his athleticism and strength on top of that, Harbaugh said he could play tight end in this league. Okay, potentially, absolutely. Or he could play edge rusher. So what I want to talk to you about this week, I thought that was quite interesting. Herbert, he's got the size, he's got the athleticism. We've seen him ever since that first game in Kansas City run over one of their linebackers. We know what Herbert can do. But could he play tight end in this league? Do you think he could actually make that transition? And then to go a step further, do you think Herbert could play the position of edge rusher? So I want to let's start with tight end here, Brandon. When thinking about the superstars, the extremely productive tight ends in the league, do you think Herbert could play at that level and compete and potentially be a top 10, top 5? Where do you see Justin Herbert there?
I see Justin Herbert, all respect given, great athlete, great quarterback, great quarterback. I don't even see him. There's zero chance that guy makes it in the league, right? And this is just a statement.
What do you mean makes it in the league? He is in the league as a tight end.
As a tight end, yeah. I think that this is a statement more on how impressive NFL tight ends are. It's a very intricate and unique position.
Right.
You need to be incredibly skilled, which he is skilled, but he's skilled at being a quarterback. His size could be, you know,
To his
very
advantage.
very beneficial to be a tight end. He's maybe got that tight end size, but if you just put him in tomorrow as tight end, what is he doing for you? He's not doing very much. He's not going to block very well. He's not going to run a route as well as some other guys. Maybe he's got good hands. That's something that could be natural. But no, right?
Okay, and I hear what you're saying, and yes, if he got thrown into being a tight end tomorrow
Yeah.
or very soon, yes, I can agree with you. I think there are the intricacies that you talk about, and transitioning in the NFL, we've seen a lot of players transition positions,
Yeah.
and there has been quarterbacks transitioning to tight ends before, to wide receivers, and I don't think that's what Harbaugh was saying. And so,
Yeah.
yes, and I know you understand that,
Well,
but with the proper training
yeah.
and practice, right? I think because he has the physical attributes that can definitely translate to the tight end position with his size, his speed. Who knows what his catching ability is like? Who
Well,
knows what his blocking ability is like?
yeah, but
But
that's the training.
he is smart. That's the training, and he is smart. And so, because football is that technical game, it is very much a chess game going on. So, how you block, there are techniques to that. And I think with proper practice and coaching, I think Justin Herbert could absolutely be a tight end in this league.
Right.
When we look at some of the tight ends that are out there, they're not always going to be the Travis Kelce's that are going to be catching a ton of balls, but you have those in between guys. But let me start off with the our tight end one last year in Gerald Everett. Could I see Justin Herbert coming in and playing at the same level as Gerald Everett? Potentially. I think where Gerald Everett maybe has that edge is that aggressiveness. That run after the catch. He's a mean runner, and the point after contact, he's quite strong in that regard. Maybe not so much for Herbert, and with his personality at least, I would be curious to see him get a little bit aggressive, and I'm going to get to that a little bit more later. But over Gerald Everett, I think with the proper training, yeah, I could see him do that. And Gerald Everett over there with Noah Fant in Seattle, not a very impressive tight end unit, and we could look around the league where we look at their tight end group. And, well, maybe they're unproven or they're just not that great. There, of course, is George Kittle and the Mark Andrews, but you have the unproven guys like the Luke Musgraves out of Green Bay. He was a highly touted prospect and definitely shined in moments last year. But, hey, Justin Herbert's size on top of his athletic, I could see it translate. So what do you think about that?
So, you mentioned Travis Kelce, and something that's always brought up about him is how he sees the field like a quarterback. And that's why
Right.
he's so successful, that he can see what Mahomes is seeing and understand his thought process. So, Herbert can bring that, the ability to read the defense in the eyes of a quarterback. He could bring that to the table, which would be huge, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And then you're mentioning the aggressiveness of Gerald Everett and his running, the way that he runs through contact and stuff like that. I need to maybe watch a little bit more, because this is on the spot here, right? But Herbert, I don't like. I'm sure he slides because every quarterback slides, but
Right.
I feel like I'm remembering a lot of times when that guy's fighting through contact to get that first down, like get an extra couple yards, 1 yard. So
100%.
I wouldn't put
Yes,
it
and
past him either. I wouldn't put that past him either. Like, yeah, his demeanor is one thing, but that's off the field. On the field is completely different, right? These guys are animals on the
Mhm.
field, and they're awesome human beings off the field. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't,
Right, right.
like you said, I guess my question of like if he was to play tight end today, yeah, I'm not so sure. But with the right training,
Hmm.
that size and his knowledge already, like if for some reason he broke his hand, can't throw the ball anymore. Well, if he could
Yes.
still catch the ball and he wanted to stay in the league, I think that would be a great position for him.
I agree with you. And so to continue on with this game, I would like to go through an exercise here where let's see Herbert or the field. Okay? Herbert or the field in terms of tight end position right now. So we'll start here in the AFC East.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go starting tight end for the team or Justin Herbert with coaching. Let's say he has that time. Of course, he doesn't have the years, but a lot of these players, they haven't been playing the same position since they started. So we'll go with Dalton Kincaid or Justin Herbert as a tight end in the NFL.
I think Dalton Kincaid's a G. I thought
Is
he
that
did
your answer
great.
then?
That's
You
definitely
did,
my answer.
absolutely.
That's definitely my
Okay,
answer.
okay, that's interesting. Let's move down then. Jonnu Smith or Justin Herbert.
See, but Johnny Smith had some sweet games last year.
Jonnu
He's been
Smith has
around
had
for a
sweet games of the
while.
last few seasons,
He's.
been around for a while, but he's got that injury history.
I
And
wonder.
he's not playing through it as much as Justin Herbert. Of course, different injuries play into it, but
Yeah, this is this game is very, subjective
it's
because
of
we haven't
course, and
seen
that's why
him.
I'm asking you
You know
and
what? Yeah,
your
so we're
take.
basically, what this is kind of like is we're finding that line. We're finding the line of is Justin Herbert like is Johnny Smith better than that one spot? Is he under the Justin Herbert tight end line?
Right, right. Hey,
um,
make the call. We're gonna fire through this.
I think today, this
Yes.
current season, I think I'll give it to Justin Herbert. I like Johnny
Amazing.
Smith,
That's fantastic.
but
Hey, great. So we're at 1-1. Now we're going to make things interesting, spicy, if you will. Herbert's old teammate, Hunter Henry.
like Hunter Henry was he was an awesome tight end.
Yes, with
He
the
was.
Chargers, absolutely. And he's had great games with the Patriots as well.
How old is that guy? He's got to be
He's
pushing.
not he's not nearly as old as Travis Kelce, I'll tell you that.
Well, Travis Kelce's like 35 or something.
Yes.
Yeah, Hunter Henry. Oh God, that guy is good though, right? Jeez, you just don't see him anymore. It's so tough. I'm gonna go with he's worse than Johnny Smith. I still take Johnny Smith, so which means that's under the Herbert line. So I'm taking Herbert.
Okay, Herbert's 2-1 right now. Tyler Conklin.
Ooh, I love Tyler Conklin though. Old
I know,
Minnesota
baby
boy,
Gronk.
Tyler Gronklin.
Gronklin, that's right.
He was sick for a little bit, but I'm definitely not taking him here. It's just
Ooh,
now I've set
three
the
and one
precedent.
Herbert.
I've set the
Yes,
precedent
yeah.
with Johnny Smith, who I think is good. And so anybody
Hey,
under Johnny Smith at the moment, there's no shot. So Tyler Conklin definitely under Johnny Smith.
boom. There we go.
Boo.
3-1. Mark Andrews.
Okay, well Mark Andrews is much
Yes,
above. He's got
yes.
that talent.
Andrews for sure.
Yeah.
3-2. Mike Gesicki.
Ooh, he's a weird one too. He just has like a couple games, but I'm not overly. You know what? And he also doesn't seem like a blocking tight end to me. I'd have to like look into that. I'm gonna say that Gasicki is under. I think he's
Ooh,
under.
this is nice. So 4-2. Pat Fryermuth.
I like Pat Frymuth. Um, I'll put him above because he's young enough too. He's young enough too that
100%.
he's
Yeah,
got a lot of
I
potential.
agree with you.
I go.
All right, we're going to the AFC South, and Brandon, we're going to fire round through this
Okay.
because we've got this and 2 with another position coming up.
Oh, geez.
Dalton Schultz. So we're at 4 and 3. Dalton Schultz.
Okay, so I'm gonna say better or worse. So Dalton Schultz is better.
So we're at 4 and 4.
Okay,
Jelani Woods.
worse,
5 and 4. Evan Engram.
worse.
6 and 4. Ooh, could be a spicy one. Okay, Chigoziem Okonkwo.
Okonkwo. You know what? To be honest, I don't know too much about that guy other than his name.
Right.
You know, I know his name, but and because of that, he must be a bum. So
Right,
he's worse.
7 and 4. 7 and 4. Adam Troutman.
Worse. I don't know who the hell that guy is.
Tight end for the Broncos. Travis Kelce.
Better.
8 and 5. Brock Bowers.
I guess better, right? We don't know
Yeah,
there either, but we'll
probably.
say better.
I'd say that. 8 and 6. Will Disley.
I like me some Will Disley. I'll say
Reliable. Ooh, 8 and 7. Okay, we go to the NFC. Jake Ferguson.
Better. I like that guy.
9 and 7. You like Jake Ferguson?
Yeah, Jake Ferguson is better.
Oh,
than
better.
her.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just not 9
8
and
and
7.
8.
We're at 8 and 8. Excuse me. Daniel Bellinger.
Worse.
9 and 8. Dallas Goddard.
Better.
9 and 9. Zach Ertz.
Probably used to be better. That guy kind of sucks now, though. So we're going worse.
Ooh, 10 and 9. Herbert. Cole Kmet.
Better.
10 and 10. Sam Laporta.
Better.
10 and 11. Luke Musgrave.
I like Luke Musgraves. I think he's better.
10
He's
and
young
12.
too, right? So
TJ, 100%. TJ Hawkinson.
better.
10 and 13. Kyle Pitts.
Bum, but I can't say worse. I think he's got it, but I'm saying Kyle Pitts is better, but not a
10
fan.
and 14. For sure. Tommy Tremble.
Worse.
11 and 14.
Yes.
Jawan Johnson.
No. Worse. He's worse than Herbert.
12
Because
and 14.
he's worse than a lot of guys I listed in the worst category.
Cade Otton.
I wonder. But I'll put him at worst too. Johnny
Ooh,
Smith is still my
13 and
best
14.
worst. You know what I mean?
Right. So 13 and 14. Trey McBride.
Better. I like that guy.
13 and 15. Tyler Higbee.
I like Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee's better.
13 and 16. George Kittle.
Better.
13 and 17. Noah Fant to finish it off.
He should be better, right? He should be better.
He should be.
But
Iowa
has
tight end.
he lived up to it? Definitely not since the trade. So we'll
Nope.
say worse.
14 and 18.
You got to keep track of that.
I think that was exactly what I said. And so, wow, it looks like Herbert would be better than less than half of the tight ends
That makes
in
sense,
the league.
though.
It
Right.
does make sense.
Because he's
Absolutely.
unproven. He's unproven.
Yeah. Yep. But I still think that's quite considerable.
Oh, if he ended up being, number 15 or you know what I mean, in the league, top 15.
Right.
That would be incredible. That would be an incredible feat for a guy like that. So
Now, I would like to play that game for this next position, but I just think the way edge rushers are, how they're sometimes determined outside linebacker, defensive
Right.
end. There are so many players out here. And, I think that speaks to the message that I want to say. And it goes back to that aggressiveness. like, could I see Justin Herbert being an edge rusher? And so Harbaugh saying that today, that's the position that really caught my attention, was that don't see it. I can't see him being so mean, getting past
Yeah.
these 300 plus pound offensive linemen, even with the significant training, even with his size. He's 6'6", 245. That's not quite there. Like you look at Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack,
Man.
like, that is quite undersized when you look at those two players. And you could go around the league when it comes to the edge position and the rushers. So it's tougher for me to see that. But I love that Harbaugh sees that engine, that fire in Herbert. And hey, maybe one day they'll have a little competitive game in camp or a practice and somewhat to get the boys fired up, potentially for a division rival, maybe against the Chiefs, maybe to get it going against the Raiders in week 1. Who knows? What do you think about Justin Herbert as a edge rusher?
See, and I even said he's a nice guy off the field, on the field. It's a different animal. They're animals, but I'm in the same boat as you. I don't see, like, there's the difference between fighting through contact and being aggressive than there is having that killer instinct. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whew. You see an edge rusher get up from a sack, or get up from missing the sack, like get up from a quarterback hit, whatever, and they are angry. Like, they are angry because they legitimately want to hurt that guy. That's their, obviously not injured, but they
Without
wanna
hurting
hurt
them.
that
Yeah,
guy.
yes.
And that's their goal. And ugh, I don't see him having that. Whether he has the speed or whatever, but
Right.
it's also way more physical. There is the blocking side of being a tight end and stuff, but it's also way more physical to try and like bull rush in straight through the tackle, or just fighting through the contact with the tackle. Those guys are big guys. I would say he would not be on the top 15 list. Like, I put him in with tight ends.
Right, and I agree with you. And it's so funny with Herbert's demeanor and his smarts and understanding the game. I could totally see him, especially when it comes to sacking the quarterback. He would play by the rule book. He would know exactly when he's not allowed to take the quarterback down, where he just pop him, where he would let go and his hands would be up, like, hey, I did what I had to do. But yeah, that absolute killer instinct. It's tough for me to see it with Justin Herbert. But that's interesting. These two positions, very different. I see why Harbaugh brought them up in terms of what he thought Herbert could play. It comes with the speed, the size, the athleticism. But they are quite different when it comes to actual play on the field. And, well, Herbert, good thing he plays quarterback. Can he play tight end? Can he play edge rusher? Let us know in the comments, because we've both got our opinions here. And all I can say is I'm happy that he's playing quarterback. I think Harbaugh is going to bring out the best of Justin Herbert this year. He is going to prove everybody wrong, in the sense that all the haters out there not thinking that he's a top 5 QB in the league, and he's going to prove a lot of the believers, a lot of the Chargers fans right, in that he is one of the best in the league.
Yeah,
I can't wait. The season's coming very soon. It can't come soon enough, though.
Yeah. It's funny that this is something that he said, and then we're having a conversation about switching to tight end, because the Vikings, this is one of the most notable things coming out of camp this week for us, is that wide receiver first round draft pick for the Patriots, N'Keal Harry,
right,
is actually, they have now switched his designation to tight end. So He is
Yes.
working
Yeah.
with the tight ends, and he's now listed as a tight end, which is um, interesting, I guess.
Hey, who knows what that's going to turn out? I hope that revives his career
Yeah.
as a former first round draft pick.
Hmm.
You know, there were definitely high expectations. And if Kevin O'Connell sees him as useful as in the tight end position, we got to believe in KOC.
Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to mention, it's football related, but somewhat not, is for the Chargers. I read, now I'm not sure how much you know about most or all of this stuff. Um, I read that Harbaugh plans, or they already did, kind of have like a half practice day or something, and then they went to a military base and did like a walkthrough and a padded practice or a non-padded practice or something in front of the military on that base, and then did a bunch of stuff with like a bunch of kids, like
Right.
military kids that are on the base. And I had heard that was like a long-standing tradition, like 30 years or whatever, that they haven't done since COVID, and it was a very it must have been because I read that it was a very like they were honoring San Diego,
Right.
like
Yeah.
a San Diego tradition. So it must be at some military base in San Diego. I didn't know too much about it, but I just read that quickly and I thought that that was kind of cool. It's
100%. And
the Harbaugh,
yeah,
like just the things that he's kind of bringing back, and it's a lot of fan service, maybe, and a lot of just nice stuff. It just seems like he's like a legitimately nice guy, and the fans see that, and it's gonna help the team as well, because the team respects people doing nice things, and that's just a nice thing that they all get to participate in as a group. So I thought it was kind of cool.
and I agree with you. You have to remember your roots.
Hmm.
And yes, some can say, well, if you look way, 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 way
Right.
back, LA. But the Chargers really became known in San Diego. And you have to remember where you came from to know where you're going. And I'm glad Harbaugh is instilling a lot of this in the team
Hmm.
because it is building that family,
It's a
it is building
culture.
that camaraderie, and it is strengthening the team that we have in LA with the LA Chargers. We trust in Harbaugh. We believe in Harbaugh. We've been saying it since the very beginning, not only for the Chargers, but for your Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy.
Hmm.
There are absolutely a ton of reasons to believe in Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And with that, I hope all of you really believe that this season is going to be much more than we hope for. We're not going to go ahead and say that it's going to be glam and glimmer for the whole way, but we have a direction. We're working towards that. And I cannot be any more excited than I have been before. And I know a lot of Chargers fans can relate. So if you're with us, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, talking football with us. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell. It lets us know you appreciate what we're talking about. And we'll be here each and every week to talk Minnesota Vikings, LA Chargers, and the NFL as a whole. So, Brandon, why don't you send us off?
Okay, everybody, Skol Bolts.
That's right, baby. Skol Bolts.
Okay, peace.